If you're watching right now on YouTube, this is the replay. We are no longer live, but welcome. Happy New Year. Today is the 1st. Today I'm going to be making this is the Big B right here, and we are going to be making it at 85%. So I affectionately called it the Little B. I'm going to wait for a couple of my TikTok friends to jump on. I'm sure I'm going to be repeating that, which is okay with me. But we'll go ahead and just get started. I added a couple of modifications to this. I extended the slip pocket 2 inches, I believe, and I sectioned it off, and then I added a zipper overlay for the zipper pocket. Hi everybody. So this is the accent piece for my slip pocket. And if you purchase a pattern and you want to add some accent pieces, do it. You don't always have to go strictly by what the pattern says. I love to add my own little butter bagisms to them. Hi, Happy New Year. Hey Rebecca. Hey Claire. Happy New Year. So let me show you the print that we're making now. I purchased this fabric when I lived in Hawaii, and it's just the perfect pop. I was feeling a little winter gloom, I guess, so I wanted something that still had kind of the darkness of winter but also a little pop of summer. So I quilted this cotton. I added 2 layers of fusible fleece. I'm going to be changing the way that I do this. Instead of sewing it inside out, turning it right side out through the pocket, I'm going to change this to a drop-in lining, and you can change any pattern to a drop-in lining. Happy New Year. Hi. Hey Nana. I'm sorry I missed some of you guys. So I left a little bit of the top uninterfaced with the second layer of fleece. So this is 1 layer and this is the second layer, because essentially at the end we're going to be folding this down to create our drop-in lining, and I just didn't want that extra bulk there. So I left about probably 3/4 of an inch. Happy New Year. But this is the fabric that we're going to be using for the outside and the inside. I'm using this really pretty purple coordinating vinyl. I also found this zipper in my stash that I thought went really well with the white in the pattern, so I'm going to be using that for the zipper. The crossbody strap, how wide does that have to be to make it fit the D-ring? It depends on the size of the D-ring that you're using. So if you're using a 1-inch D-ring and you're folding your strap in half and then in half again, you want to make it 4 inches wide. Hi Linda. Happy New Year everybody. Alright, this is going to be for my zipper overlay. I'm just getting it taped down. Let's start with our slip pocket. Got some of your beautiful fabric. Can't wait to, oh my gosh, I love that. So this bag right here I made with some of the fabric that I sell, which is a little kitty cat print. So this is cotton on the outside, and for this particular one, because I didn't quilt it, I used 1 layer of SF101 and 1 layer of fusible fleece, and it gives it a really sturdy, like it stands up on its own. There's no stuffing or anything inside of the bag. And then this is another type of fabric that I sell. So the meow on the inside, the little kitty cat prints on the outside. So don't just think of quilting cotton for quilts or, you know, 2-dimensional items. You can totally make them into bags. Your interfacing is going to be what gives your fabric more structure. And I've done it where I've used 2 layers of SF101 and no fusible fleece, and you still have the structure for the cotton. So there is vinyl on the top that gives the top a little bit more structure, but on like the inside lining is cotton, and this is all just cotton, and you still have really good structure to it. So I love that you got the fabric. I hope you love it too. I think it's still on sale too. I marked it 30% off for post-holiday. A lot of people get into the creative sewing around the holidays because they have the time. So I figured, why not give back? I love that, Sheila. All right, so I'm just folding my accent piece over the top, and then we're going to go ahead and stitch that down. Ugh. How was everybody's Christmas? Alright, so I stitched one line to add it to the fabric. I'm going to stitch another line on the top just for visual. I really like the look of a dual stitch. Hey Tammy! Hi T Brown! So that's what it looks like with 2 stitches. And then I'm just going to trim off the little excess on the side. Hi Alicia! Alright, let me grab one of my lining pieces. We're going to center that. Let me grab my ruler. So this is the big B at 85%, which I affectionately call the little B. So I'm going to give you the measurements for placement if you want to make it. So I go 1.5 inches down from the top of my fabric and then just center this. I'm going to add some pins to keep it in place so that I can sew it around. Thanks, Nana. I have a couple of testers testing out the pattern pieces for this bag, and so as soon as they are done with that, if you've already purchased this pattern, I'm going to go ahead and send you the pattern pieces, because right now the pattern just gives you a cut list, and that way with the pattern pieces you can scale it up or down. I'm gonna have to, yeah, the 85% is so cute. All right, let's get this stitched down. I have these tiles on the floor and my chair gets stuck in a little crack sometimes. So if you see me struggling, that's why. All right, so we sewed around the outside and the bottom to secure the pocket. We're obviously not going to sew down the top so that we can get into it. And then I'm going to section this off to give a little dual slip pocket action. So I'm just going to take my fabric pin, which is erasable. I'm going to go 2 inches in from one side and make a line. For my pin, the fabric is removed with heat, so I'm going to turn on my iron. But I say that to say, if you do your accent piece, you do not want to draw your line all the way up to the top where your accent piece is, because when your iron gets close to that vinyl, it's going to melt it. So I usually start my line about 3/4 of an inch down. Crochet videos. I'm getting ready to make my first bag. Oh, I love that, Kathy. What are you making? So I don't do crochet videos. My most recent video that I posted on TikTok was a blanket that I finished, and I only posted that because on one of my previous lives I had mentioned that I was crocheting a blanket, so I just wanted to show the finished. But I crochet at my nighttime, at my leisure. My main job is sewing. Alright, so we're going to sew all the way up, back stitch at the top. I go over 1 stitch, come back down, and I also back stitch at the top. So stitch a couple, back stitch, and then come all the way down. That's what it kind of looks like on the back, so we have a section and then a regular. I'm going to use my pen, or my iron, to get rid of that pen. So now we have a standard slip pocket and then one where you can fit like a pin. Something tall and thin would work perfectly. All right, let me set this aside. We're going to do the zipper pocket on the other side of the interior. So this is what the bag is going to look like when it's done. I love this size. So this is the regular big B right here. It's quilted. This is also a big B. So you can kind of tell the size difference at 85%. But there is a magnetic snap closure, and this is the dual slip pocket that we just did, and then now we're going to go ahead and do the zipper pocket. I need a little bee. They're on the website, and I believe they're almost half the price of the regular size. And this one right here that I'm making, I posted a picture of the fabric, so if you'd like this one, it's available too. Thanks, Tammy. It's called a little bee, yeah. Okay, let me grab my other interior lining piece. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna measure down 1.5 inches from the top and then center this. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch around the outside. Hi, Anne. I guess you could 85%. Yeah, of course. You can enlarge or you can make the pattern smaller. So I'm going to pause and pull my thread through instead of back stitching. That's going to give me a really pretty seamless finish. Did you cut that vinyl piece by hand? Yes. But on my website, I actually have a free pattern for a zipper overlay. But yeah, I do mine. It's, to me, because I know all the measurements to cut, I just do it by hand. I know some people who use like a Cricut or a Silhouette or other type of machines that do cutting to cut those pieces. I haven't used I have a Silhouette, but I haven't used it in so long. I'm sure I have to update the software, find a place on my desk to fit it, plug it up. It's just too much for me. All right, so I'm just knotting that off. I like to just hit it with my lighter, and I'll show you where I started. You can kind of tell. No, thank you. So right here is where I started my stitch, and because I didn't back stitch when I started or stopped, I don't have layers of stitching. It just looks like one seamless stitch all the way around, which is why I pull it through the back and knot it off. Do you have to do that? No. It's just a little something extra. And then I'm gonna get that fabric out of there. I just use my scissors and cut parallel, that way I don't go through my zipper overlay, accidentally trim that. There we go. So I leave behind just a little bit of fabric, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna set this aside actually, and then I'm going to work on the zipper pocket that goes inside of there. Let me find my zipper. So with the right side up, I'm going to just lay my zipper along the top and stitch that down. Shirlene. I actually got this fabric when I lived in Hawaii. It's so pretty. And then we're going to take the other side of the pocket, right side up. We're going to stitch our zipper on the top of that piece as well, with the zipper teeth facing up. All right. I'm going to iron this flat. So we got a little bit of puffiness right here. I kind of want it to lay nice and flat. So I just use my iron, go along the edge of that zipper tape. You can kind of tell the difference. It just makes it a little easier to sew it in because it's flattened. I like to do the same thing on the back. Wait, I've missed some stuff. You don't live in Hawaii anymore? No, we moved June. We now live in Northern Virginia. Hi, Miss Tanya. All right, I'm gonna add my zipper pull. Yeah, you've missed a lot. We've been here now for 6 months. I can't believe it's been 6 months. Way behind April. All right, and that is how I make my zipper pockets. And then now what we're going to do is sew that into the opening that we created. So I'm just going to line this up, make sure it's nice and centered. You can add some tape to the zipper and then tape it in place. I've just to save myself on a little bit of supplies, I've just kind of been holding it in place while I sew. But I've been doing it for a really long time, so if you need to use tape, use tape. I used tape for years. I have a problem figuring out what side the zipper goes on when you sew it. Always have to redo. So you want your fabric right side up, and you want your zipper teeth right side up. You want to be looking at the top of the zipper. So just think right side, right side. Right side fabric, right side zipper. All right, same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread through so I can knot it off so it looks nice and seamless. Are you ready to move back yet to Hawaii? So I really miss the weather, especially with it being so cold here. But I love being on the mainland. I mean, I'm close to family and friends. I can get on a flight and fly 1 or 2 hours to go see people and not have to fly for 9 hours just to make it back to the mainland. So there's good and bad stuff. I'm also happy that it's not as expensive as it was in Hawaii. Northern Virginia is still kind of pricey, but it's definitely not as bad. Happy New Year's, Erica. You're welcome. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and knot that off. But I definitely miss the weather. And it was so beautiful. Hit that with my lighter. Now what I'm going to do, so our zipper is sewn in place. Now what I'm going to do is close my zipper, just pull the top down until it can't go down anymore. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess where it meets the other part of the zipper and then sew everything together. So if you were going to turn your pocket right side out or turn your bag right side out through the pocket, you would just sew down your 2 sides and leave your bottom open. I'm going to turn this into a drop-in lining and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm going to sew the entire pocket shut. Do you know where you're going next? No. I mean, we just got here, so we won't have orders for a long time. I believe this is a 3-year assignment, if I'm not wrong. All right. I'm just gonna trim the extra fabric down. Anytime I cut my zipper, I like to just hit the edge with my lighter because the zipper tape will fray. My book bag holds all right. Oh, good, Holly. It's a nice size backpack, and it's such a unique shaped backpack. All right, so our zipper pocket is all done, completely closed. All right, now what we're going to do is mark our top band. So the inside lining has a piece of vinyl on the top. So I'm gonna add 2 marks. I'm gonna add the mark that I'm going to use to make this a drop-in lining, and then I'm going to mark my seam allowance, which is 3/8 inch. So if you ever want to change a regular sewn-in bag from a sew inside out, turn right side out to a drop-in lining, all you have to do, it's a lot easier if you're working with a straight edge. So for example, this bag right here, right here, has a curved edge to the top. So this one will be a little bit harder to, you can, but it would be a little bit harder to make the 3/4 inch marks because you would have to do it on a curve. So mark down 3/4 of an inch. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold the edge before we sew the inside and outside together to finish it off. And then we're just going to drop the lining into the exterior. I'm just drawing my seam allowance right here. I don't have the measurements on my sewing machine, so I just like to add my 3/8 just to make sure everything will line up perfectly when I'm done. So 3/8, that's my stitch mark, what I'm going to be sewing down. 3/4 of an inch is going to be what I'm going to use to do my drop-in lining. So we're going to sew this to this panel with the zipper, and then we're going to do the same thing on the slip pocket side that we did earlier. All right, let me get my tension right. So I'm just going to line this up to the top, clip it in place, and then sew. I need to blow my nose. I don't know why it's running all of a sudden. Sorry. All right, that one's clipped together. We're going to do the same thing to this side. Did I cut this too small? I cut this piece a little bit too small, which is fine. I think I made it like a 1/4 inch too small, so I'm going to center it that way. I'll have an 1/8 on this side, 1/8 on this side. I'm working on a big bee right now. I love that. Do me a favor, Tina, if you don't mind. I know the original Big Bee pattern just has a cut list, and I have created pattern pieces. That way you can scale it down or up, but I need testers. I have 2 people that I've reached out to. Would you mind, if you don't mind, testing it for me? Can you send me an email, info@butterbags.com, and I can get you the pattern pieces if you don't mind printing them at like 90% or even 85% and testing it out for me. Just making a bag. When I say testing, just making a bag with the smaller scale. If you don't mind, no pressure. All right, that's been sewn on. Now we're going to open it up so that we can do a top stitch, and that's going to allow this to lay nice and flat. I want to make sure that my pocket is out of the way so I'm not sewing that. I'm liking the size. I love the little bee. Sure do. I just sent you. Yeah, can you just email me? Info@butterbags.com is my email address. So if you just send me an email and say, I don't mind testing the little B, I can go ahead and send you, reply to that, and get you the pattern pieces. I haven't caught you live in so long. Well, I haven't gone live for like the last week because holidays, but the last few months I've been doing a lot of lives. Where have you been? All right, now we're going to add the bottom. So I'm going to mark the center of my panel piece, the center of my bottom, and then I'm just going to match those up. How often do you service your sewing machine? Honestly, I move every couple of years, and so every couple of years I move, I usually have it serviced. But that's only because moving and it bouncing around. If I didn't move, I probably would get it serviced maybe, gosh, I don't know. I wouldn't even know the answer to that question. I'm sure you could find it on YouTube though. Or maybe someone in the chat could answer that for you. It's a self-oiling machine, so if you keep it clean, there's a couple of exterior places that you have to oil manually. But if you keep it clean, new needles, keep your tension good, use good thread, you really don't have to have it serviced. Unless you're using it like 10 hours a day. I mean, these things are built to last decades. All right, so I centered the bottom. I'm going to trim this down. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for the other side. This is the side with the pocket. I'm going to clip my pocket up so that way I don't accidentally sew on it. Do you have any support for the bottom? Of the interior, I line all of my lining pieces with SF 101. And then for the exterior, I line it with Peltex, which gives it some thickness and support. All of my bags, the bottom has Peltex in it. Which Peltex, it kind of gives a like plasticky cardboard feel to it. It's thick and sturdy. I use basic sewing machine and it drives me nuts. I go through a lot of them, yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first started sewing, I had a Singer Curvy was the model, and I think it may have lasted a year, and then I went back to Joann and bought another Singer Curvy because in my mind I was like, well, if I lose a part or a part goes out on this one, I'll have a backup with this Curvy. And I think I did that like one more time, and then I was like, probably shouldn't get a Curvy. I probably need something a little bit better. I mean, it was a good starter sewing machine for sure. I want to get a commercial sewing machine. It was the best investment I ever made. I actually have an industrial for thick fabric, and then I have another industrial for thinner fabric. Like I made a couple of pair of pajama pants over the holiday, and it was perfect to sew those. All right, so we have the bottom on our inside lining. Now what we need to do is sew our side panels together. So I'm going to line up where my fabric meets my fabric and vinyl. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to unclip that. There we go. And then now I'm just going to sew down my sides. Happy New Year, Wanda! Okay. Do recommend places you like for vinyl. Oh, I love that, Tina. Have you gotten it yet? So all of my solid color vinyl, blacks, browns, this purple right here, all of my solid vinyl I get from marinevinylfabric.com. So their business was created for like reupholstering marine boat vinyl. So, you know, like the boats that, or the chairs that you sit on the boats, they're wrapped with vinyl. And I like it, one, because it's usually like waterproof, the sun, it doesn't get sun damage because it's meant to be out in the sun on the water. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I like marine vinyl fabric. All right, so I just marked the center. I'm gonna grab my magnetic snap closure and install that. Let's see, sewing a puff quilt blocks to show. Oh, I love that. Have you made your bags with cotton straps? Yeah, I have. Oh, here we go. Not usually, but like this Tiffany right here, it's made with a cotton exterior and cotton straps. But I think that's the only, and that's not even for sale. So all the bags that I sell, they all have vinyl straps. Teach me a snap, please. I have them. Sure. Hiya, Artez. All right, so we have two pieces to the snap. This is the magnetic snap. Two pieces that actually snap together. One is called the male end, and the reason why it's called male is because it has a little piece that points up, and then the female end actually has an indented side. So the one right here snaps in. Those are the two main pieces for the snap, and then we have our washers on the back, which is what the prongs go into to get secured. Excuse me. So I'm going to make a mark down here, which is the center of my panel. And what I'm going to do is take one of my washers that show me where my prongs go, that little center dot, I'm going to lay down on the dot that I made on my fabric. And then I'm just going to draw through the prongs where I should poke through. So that's what it looks like. With both layers together, I'm going to poke through both layers. I'm just going to use my little seam ripper. That way I know that when my bag is closed with both of these pieces are together, they're going to fit. And so I don't have to worry about them not fitting because I have the fabric pieces closed together. And we're just poking through both of them at the same time. And then all you do is install your snaps. So this is the male. It doesn't really matter which side. This is the male. It's going to go on one side. So I'm just going to poke that through those little slots that I cut out. Oh. So you just poke them through those little slots that you made. Add your washer. And then some people push them in, some people push them out. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way. I just have always pushed them out like that to secure them. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to put our prongs through those cuts we made. Add the washer, and then again, push them in, push them out. I don't care what you do. I push them out. So that is how you install a magnetic snap. And then again, because we cut through both layers together, it lines up perfectly. So your bag will snap and unsnap. All right, so now what we're going to do is sew this little side piece right here closed. I use a little block it interface thing, but I used to do that too. I actually have little pieces of Peltex that I used to put back there. You can, just for added security. I don't find it necessary, personally. Oh, that's simple. Aren't you afraid of it coming undone? I've had bags with magnetic snaps for years and it's never come undone. Never, not once. Do you have a schedule for your lives yet? Not yet. I'm waiting for the new year, which is today. Next week, hopefully, I can get one because January is not going to be as busy. I got it busy last week of January. My dog's having surgery, but other than that, I think I can get back on the schedule. You're welcome. All right, and that is the inside lining of our bag. So when you open up your bag, you're gonna look inside, you're gonna see this little zipper pocket on one side and then this little dual slip pocket on the other. I'm going to sew open my side seam so that way it's nice and flat. Remember this line at the top? We're going to finish this by folding this top piece down, and having this side flattened is gonna make it a lot simpler. Erica, no, I am the worst. I have so many projects set aside. I have so many boxes of hardware that I've purchased for projects that are just sitting aside. I have not had a chance to do it. This was a really busy custom order season. This is the little B, but yeah, it's the big B scaled down to 85%. Thanks, Twigs and Willows. You make this look easy. I'll be doing it for days. I've been doing it for a really long time, so I know I make it look easy. This particular bag is one of my easier patterns though. All right, so we're going to sit our inside lining aside and we're going to work on the exterior of the bag, which is actually really simple. I've already quilted it. So if you missed in the beginning, this is a piece of cotton fabric. There are 2 layers of fusible interfacing. So I've left the top about 1 inch uninterfaced, and that way when I fold this over to do my finished edge, I just don't have the extra bulkiness of this second layer of interfacing. But this gives it a lot of nice structure. All right, so we're going to, on the exterior, all we have to do is add our shoulder strap attachments and then the bottom of the bag, and that's it. And then we're gonna put the inside and outside together. Hey Deanie, happy, oh my gosh. I forgot to make a note in my Facebook group that I was going live. I normally make a post to give everybody a heads up. Please don't hate me, I'm so sorry. Thanks, Wanda. Call him only equal to that, but yes. Yeah, that's actually the easiest part because all you have to do, I don't know if you'll be able to see it through my stitching, but you just draw lines. And I think this is 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches wide, and you just draw lines and then do the other way, draw lines and then just sew. I mean, it takes a little bit of practice, but that's easy, just sewing straight lines. And that's actually, if you're new to sewing or you want to get into sewing, it's actually a really good practice. That way you learn your machine and it strengthens your sewing skills by just being able to sew a straight line. It's going to be hard to do anything else sewing wise if you can't sew a straight line. So quilting is actually a really great practice. Have you made one with just a slip pocket on the outside of the bag? Yeah, I have. I've made a couple. Let me cut this and then I'll grab one that I made a couple of adjustments on, which has an exterior slip pocket. So this is the regular size Big B. And I think I did this one live, but this one has a slip pocket on the exterior. I used webbing for the shoulder straps, and then there's also a zipper pocket on the outside. Excuse me. So yeah, I have. And then I've also done the traditional shoulder straps. Shoulder straps with just a slip pocket hanging out by itself on the front of the bag. Thank you guys. That's some vinyl that I quilted. All right. Shoulder strap holders. Just gonna add some double-sided tape down the center. We're gonna be folding these in on itself so the double-sided tape just keeps everything held together. extra pieces down here. I know it seems like it's cinnamon tape, but I'm gonna use them. You have so many bags behind you. Yeah, they're all listed on my website. Do I miss Hawaii? Certain parts of it. I miss the weather. I miss how beautiful the land is. The people were so kind. So there's a lot that I miss. There's a lot that I don't miss. Price of living was outrageous. Gas was crazy. Food was crazy. It took so long to get back to the mainland to see my friends and family. All right, but so there's goods and bads. Hey, Elizabeth. All right, so what I'm going to do is fold up the end. That's going to give me a finished edge on my connector, and then fold in each side. So fold in one side like that. Fold in the other side. I like to kind of taper the top of it. So that's going to give me that finished edge on the outside. I'm going to put one piece of tape inside, put on my hardware, fold this over, put another piece of tape on the back. That's going to hold it up against the fabric when I sew it down. But that's what the connector looks like on the front and what it looks like on the back. Hobby Lobby has their 80% off. I know, I got the text message the other day. I think they're closed today though. Snow cotton for Wednesday. I love that. Yeah, I can't wait to go. Hopefully they'll have it tomorrow. I just finished making your scarf. Oh, good. Did she love it, Elizabeth? The Cozy Cuddle scarf. I'm just going to do the same thing for the rest of these. Where are you now? In Northern Virginia. We live in Alexandria. She's obsessed with it. I made her, oh. Yeah, it is perfect for winter. And it's so comfortable because it's not a long scarf. So you don't have to worry about wrapping it all around or having it fly around and get caught in other things. It's just all where it needs to be. Thank you for the lesson. Gotta get going. Bye, Miss Tanya. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging with us. All right, last one. All right, before I sew this down, I'm going to make my mark 3/4 of an inch from the top, which is essentially where the second piece of interfacing fusible fleece stops. So I don't even have to mark that. I think I did the same thing over here. Nope, this one's a little bit off. So I'll just make a mark. There we go. So that's my 3/4 inch line down. And then now we're going to go just like the inside, 1.5 inches from the top, making sure it is the top. What kind of sewing machine? Oh, Happy New Year! Is that? This is an industrial sewing machine. It is a Juki 1181. So I'm just taking the tape off the back and putting these down. So that's just going to hold it in place until we sew them down. Is this a custom order? No, it's not. I just started doing these little bees, so I just wanted to get some bags up on the site. Some inventory, if you will. All right, let me get everything set. And we're just going to sew this down. I did get the narrow walking foot, so hopefully it will be better and closer to the hardware. You can also, oh, okay, for your machine. Yeah. Yes. gonna come down. I use that little piece of Peltex at the very top. That way I don't scratch up my hardware or my vinyl coming down. There we are. So that is what it looks like stitched on. Let me get rid of these tiny pieces of thread, and then we're going to do the same thing here. Hello. Alright, this panel is all done. I'm just going to hit these tiny little pieces of thread with my lighter. I just bought a Juki last year. Great investment, I agree. I think it's been so interested. Oh, you're welcome, Joanne. You always make this look so easy. Thanks, Ray. Do I need smooth teeth on the bottom feet? No, mine are rough. My feet are rough. It's really the press-a-foot pressure, which comes from the two knobs on the very top, and the tension that you have set. So there's a couple of things, but no, these feet have the ridges on them to pull the fabric through. So these are not smooth. I would actually personally be afraid of using smooth ones just because I don't know if it would pull the thicker material that I use through enough. But I think a lot of it's just trial and error. And I think the smooth ones, I looked online one time, I think they're like 80 bucks just for one set of smooth feet, which I personally can't justify paying that much. Get yourself some sandpaper and smooth them down yourself. A lot of sandpaper, even like the thickest grit would be able to sand down metal, but I would probably try that first personally, but I'm also cheap, so take that as you will. All right, last one. Alrighty. Let me add my name tape. There's a high grind. Yeah. Yeah, I would assume so. Get a friend that has a metal grinder. I love how you're so clean. Thanks. All right, so I'm just going to center this right in between those two connectors. Make a couple marks. And I'm just going to use my seam ripper to poke through. I don't want to poke through my stitches. It needs to come up a little bit, but I don't want to poke through my stitches. I should have done it somewhere else, but no worries. I'll fix that. Got some fray check. I'm just going to add to my stitch line. I had to poke through my stitches so that it would be nice and even. But this is kind of like fabric glue. And I'll probably wind up adding some more fabric glue too. There we go. Let's add a little E6000. Just so we know those stitches aren't going anywhere. There we go. May I ask where you get your metal stamps made? So I don't know off the top of my head. I do have a YouTube. If you go into the collections at the top, I believe it's there where I get mine from. I don't know off the top of my head. All right, let's go ahead. Add our, I don't want to get that glue everywhere. Okay, there we go. So that is what the front looks like. This is what the back looks like, and we're just gonna put everything together. So just like the inside, we're going to note the center bottom of both panels. And then we're going to note the center bottom of our, the center of our bottom panel, sorry. My brain froze for a second. Okay, we're gonna match those two. Clip and sew them together. Thanks, Tina. Sides down. And then we're going to open this up and we're going to do a top stitch. I really just love the way it looks on the bottom of bags. It's not necessary. Somebody asked me if it was necessary to do it on the inside lining. I say no, I've done it before, but it's definitely not a necessity. But that stitch right here is what we just did. I think it just looks so pretty. Not that anyone's gonna really see the bottom of your purse, but it just gives it a really classy look. So that's what it looks like here. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Happy New Year! Hey, Molly! Hopefully that means that you'll catch a lot more going into 26. I can't believe that we're in 26. All right, cut that down. Top stitch. Resolution plus I'm saving to order a bag. All right, so that's what the bottom looks like, and then now we're just going to sew up our sides. Just gonna clip them together, clip and stitch. Do you know what you want yet, Molly? She made me a bag over a year ago, and it's still. Shonda, what bag was that? Remind me. Alright, sides are clipped down. We're going to go ahead and sew that. The hippo pattern, I do remember that. Because I didn't have one and we worked together to find one. Are you using a walking foot? Yes. Was that the one with like the gears? I want like what you're making with the picture of my fur babies. Yes, yes, I remember that. Because I was like, just make sure it's not copywritten. That's what I remember the most about it. Because when you first told me that style, I was like, I had never heard of that before. I still don't remember what it was. But I was like, just as long as it's not copywritten, I can do it. I do remember. That was a fun bag to make. All right, so I'm just clipping the side to the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and sew that down. And then the exterior is all done. We're just gonna sew the inside and outside together. Let's sew open our side seam. Thanks, Shonda. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me make that for you. Do you sell Bible cases on your site, or are they custom order? Custom order. Just because I want to have some inventory on hand, but I know that there's like standard size, regular size, large size Bibles, but there's so many in between. So I don't want to make all these Bible covers and then they not sell because they don't fit people's Bibles. So right now it's just a custom order. Okay. Normally you would take your inside lining and sew it inside out with the outside. So normally you would put them together, sew them, and then turn it right side out. We are making this a drop-in lining. So what we're going to do is add our double-sided tape right above that line that we drew, that 3/4 of an inch line. We're gonna add a piece of double-sided tape so that way we can finish our edges and then literally just drop it in. So again, any bag that you would normally sew inside out, turn it right side out, you can make it into a drop-in lining by just drawing a line 3/4 of an inch down. Adding double-sided tape. You'll use a lot of double-sided tape. With this cotton one, I could probably fold it over and iron it down and not have to use tape, but this is just the easiest, fastest way. Okay, double-sided tape has been placed all the way around. I'm gonna just push that in, and then we're gonna turn this right side out. So again, you can make cotton super sturdy by just the interfacing that you use. So like I said, this is 2 layers of fusible fleece, and it's standing up on its own. Just 2 pieces of cotton, 2 pieces of fleece on each side, and you have the sturdiness for cotton. I'm gonna set this aside, and we're gonna do the same thing for our lining. We're going to add double-sided tape right above that line, all the way around. And this is why it just makes sense to sew open our side seam. Just take a couple minutes, or not even a couple minutes, couple seconds to do that. It just makes it so much easier when you're adding your tape. All right, we're back to the beginning. Give that one more press. We're going to take off the backing. And then what we're going to do is just fold over our edges so that it meets that top line, just like that. I like to add a clip to the sides just because there's a little extra fabric right there. So the clip just holds it in place. And then just go around the rest of the bag. And so what we're doing is we are making a finished edge on the top. This is a raw edge right here. So on the front of it, it's raw. This right here is considered a finished edge. So we're going to do this for the lining, we're going to do this for the exterior, and then we're just going to literally drop this in and sew them together, which is why it's called a drop-in lining. What kind of bag is this again? So the name of this pattern is the Big B. I just made it at 85%. I've never done a drop-in liner. It's so much easier in my opinion. And your bag stays, it prevents it from creasing, because a lot of the time when I sew this inside out, I pull the whole bag out of my zipper pocket to turn it right side out, and so you have all this material going through this one little opening, where this, you don't have to do that. You're literally just dropping it in and sewing it. So this piece has a finished top edge, and we're going to do the same thing here. Does it have an outside pocket too? Not this bag, no. You can add one though. I mean, if you're sewing the pattern, you can add one. And so we're just going to do the same thing. Fold this down to meet that line. All the way around. And like I said, you can do this to any bag to turn it into a drop-in lining. It's just a lot easier if your bag has a straight edge and not like a curve, not like this one. This would be a little bit tougher to do a drop-in lining because of the curve that you have to sew the inside and outside together. All right. Exterior has a finished edge, and so now we're just going to drop in our lining. Match up our side seams, and then we're going to clip it all the way around and then sew the two pieces together. Why don't I have cool neighbors like you? I don't know. I don't know. Grab some more clips. I can't wait until my husband retires and we move into our forever home. I really want to open up like a storefront to help teach sewing. Or even if it's just like for homeschool kids. It's just such a great craft. It's just such a great life lesson to learn how to sew. I wish I like grew up sewing. I didn't start sewing until I was in my 20s, like late 20s. You don't have, I mean, you can make bags, clothes, furniture, items, drapes, towels, dusters for your Swiffer. I mean, it's just, there's so much you can do with sewing. Thanks, Sew at 26. All right, I'm just tucking everything in. So we have it just clipped together. And then now all I'm going to do is sew all the way around the top to combine the two. Ugh. Get my tension right. Thanks, Sapphire. In California? No. Definitely not California. Our forever home is going to be in Texas. All right. So when I start and stop sewing, I back stitch. So I like to start on the back. So this is the front. I'm going to start sewing about right here on the back, just so the front has a seamless stitch, and my back stitching is going to be on the back. Make sure all my hardware is pressed down. I'm good, I'm good. And we sew. Just keep going, nice and slow. You'll be in my neighborhood. I'm in South Louisiana. Texas, what part? I'm in East Texas. Oh, nice little puzzle piece. So we want to be in northern Texas around Fort Worth area. My husband's been looking at property in Weatherford, I think is the name of it. So around that area. But Texas is very veteran friendly, so that's one of the main reasons why we're moving there. Your retirement doesn't get taxed crazy. I don't think you have to pay taxes on military retirement in Texas. All right, I'm coming back to where I started, just back stitching. I grew up in Fort Worth. Tornado Alley, I know. That just means that I'll have a basement. All right, I'm just gonna trim my thread, seal that up with a lighter. All right, so here's the stitching. You can see it from the outside and the inside. So here's the stitching that I just did on the inside look, and then here's what it looks like on the outside. Again, we got our magnetic snap because we have interfaced our bag really well. We have the sturdiness and structure. It's gonna take, I mean, you can knock it over obviously, but it's a really sturdy bag. And then all we have to do is make some handles for it. Thanks, Nana. I'm in Central West Texas, 3 hours from Rutherford, and have family too. Is it a good place, Denise? Do a storm zone. Yeah. You can work all the rodeos. Yeah. The Juki machine. Yeah, you can use it for leather. Yeah, we're really excited. We haven't been to Weatherford. We lived in Austin for a year, San Antonio. So we're going to be doing a lot of traveling out there and looking at property before he retires. But he's pretty set on Weatherford. Austin, I know. We lived in northern Austin, so it wasn't, we had some really great neighbors. Austin's logo is stay weird, or keep Austin weird, something like that. So that just tells you the kind of city it is. But we lived in northern Austin. This is not leather, no, this is vinyl. It's a faux leather. Nothing, I mean, a lot of people love Austin. There was a ton of stuff to do there. The food was amazing. We found a really great church in Round Rock, which I still watch it on YouTube to this day, and I haven't been to that church in about 3-4 years. The Fellowship Church, Donnie is an amazing pastor. Probably one of my favorite churches I've ever been to. They keep it weird down there for sure, yeah. Okay, so these are our shoulder straps. I'm going to add some double-sided tape down the center. And that's just going to keep everything together while we fold it up. All right, one. I'm in Colorado City, an hour away from from Texas? I live in Northern Virginia. Texas is going to be our forever home when my husband retires. All right, let's fold this up. So very similar to how I did the shoulder strap connectors, where we fold up the bottom and then fold in each side, is what I'm doing. hope you don't mind me asking, why did you guys leave Hawaii? Oh, it was just a 3-year assignment, so our assignment was up. How long before he retired? So he's been in for, he has 30 years of service, so he could retire tomorrow. Well, not literally tomorrow, but you know what I mean. He's eligible for retirement. When he's going to retire, who knows? We used to go to the lake there many years when it was full on Cherry Creek. Now that you're in the U.S., do you ship to Canada? So yeah, I do ship to Canada. I shipped to Canada when I lived in Hawaii too. I think I started that maybe 2 years ago. All right, this is all folded up. Let's sew it down. So we're gonna just fold it one more time, sew everything together. Happy New Year, Nikki. All right, let's come back up. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Hey, Frida. Would you ever do a live sew along teaching how to make a bag? So I do this, which is, it's not really a sew along, I guess, because you're not doing it with me. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard anybody express interest in me doing that. Maybe. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't think anybody's ever asked. I'm sure it looks soft and cozy. Yeah, it is. It is. It's cold outside. I don't know if it snowed outside. I woke up this morning and there were like little pebble-sized white things on the ground. So I don't know if it hailed or what happened. I don't know what was going on last night. But it's still outside. Happy New Year. Okay. This is it. This is the last thing we're sewing. Just going to attach the straps and call it a day. What time is it? 1 o'clock. My husband's home from work, so I can go make some lunch. We call it sleet here in Texas, yeah. It looks like sleet, but I've never known sleet to stay around that long. And sleet that I've seen normally is more like see-through. This is white, which is so bizarre. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. Let me pull this out. Just seems like something's stuck in my bobbin. I'm in Kentucky and it's warm one day, freezing the next. Snow pellets, maybe. I've never even seen snow pellets before, but that's kind of what it looks like. Everything looks good. I don't know why that just got caught. But but that's fine. I back stitched on the bottom of my strap, so I can just start by sewing straight up. It's called, oh. Yeah, but you're colder than we are here, so maybe that's why it's going around. Maybe. In Baltimore, we'll get about a ½ inch of snow. I'm not in Hawaii, Teresa. I'm in Northern Virginia. Heading to my parents for dinner. They said, oh, happy anniversary, Deanie, to your parents. Will y'all be near a military base when you retire? I don't know if there is a base in Dallas. Yeah, there's the MIC that's up there. Probably. I mean, that's not terribly far. All right. It's mostly like salt spread. Don't freeze it. So it's in my backyard. The frost sneezed. It's in my backyard, and I know that hasn't been treated, so, and it's also on my patio upstairs. It's some sort of precipitation. I have no clue what it is. 8 inches of snow. I wouldn't mind it. But you guys know me. I love snow. All right, let's go ahead and attach these baddies. I need to go grab some. I'm using antique brass for my handles or my attachments. And I only did that because the zipper teeth are antique brass, so I wanted everything to match. Except for my magnetic snap. I didn't think to go grab one of those, but that's okay. All right, so I need to get some brass snaps to snap these on. So let me just put them in place. I'll grab some rivets and we will be good. I'm in Maryland. We got dusting. All right, let's make sure it lines up. It does. All right, let me go get some rivets and we will rivet this in place. Alrighty. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. These look a little smaller than I'm used to using. Let's see if they'll fit. Perfect. I hear something crazy. I was working yesterday and I pulled something and like came this way and I knocked my ring on my sewing machine, knocked a diamond right out of my ring. The crazier thing about it is that the diamond was sitting like right here on the table. So it was a little diamond too. So I just grabbed a piece of tape, taped it to the inside of a plastic bag. I gotta take it to the jeweler. But I knocked a diamond right out of my ring. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So I told my husband about it and he was like, well, that's why I got he got like the little service plan for it, that if anything ever comes out, they fix it. So if you guys see me without my ring this upcoming week, I'm not getting divorced. Just getting my ring fixed. I know, really lucky because it is a tiny, it's like one of the little, I'll show you. One of the little ones that's on the side. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Anyways, one of the really small ones that's on the side. Yeah, for it to be sitting right on the table. So lucky. Do we have a pattern for that? This is the Big B. I just made it at 85%. I lost my diamond not long ago and lost it completely. Oh no. They replaced it for free. I think that's the plan that he got too, but I'm gonna take the diamond. All right, let me grab my press. Get that set. How was your holiday? It was good. I can't give prices on live or my video will get flagged, but they're all listed on my website, butterbags.com. Cost me $150 to get mine fixed. Oh no. I hope they don't have like a little deduct, like a hopefully they don't. All right, that's it. So that is the little B. So this is the Big B sewing pattern at 85%. And the bottom. And then again, it's got the little magnetic snap. We have a dual slip pocket on one side and then a zipper pocket on the other side. So just to kind of show you the difference between 85% and the original, this is the original size. Let me do it this way. So this is the little B, this is the Big B. I designed it where the top of the shoulder strap and the top of the bag are just about the same. So that's where it hits your shoulder and that's the top of the bag. So your drop space is pretty much the same. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, that's all I got today. If you are in my Facebook group, I'm going to seriously this weekend sit down and draw out a live schedule. That way it'll be consistent, especially since we're in the new year and most of my custom orders are done. I still have a few that I have to do. But thanks for hanging out with me. If you missed any of this live right here, I upload it to my YouTube, Butterbags. And so if you want to go and watch the first part of it, or if you want to watch any of my previous ones, they're all on my YouTube channel. Happy New Year. Thank you guys. Thanks, Claire. All right, y'all have a great day. I will see you next week.